Alright, guys, good late afternoon or early evening. I almost forgot about this one this week because there was so much stuff that needed to be said with the short turnaround before the Niners game, but I do want to go ahead and get the rooting guide post-mortem out before we get to the actual week 6 games. So, again, we're kind of early in the season, so it's sometimes a little bit hard to figure out what you want, but we're going to do our best and we're going to talk through things that happened and just kind of try to evaluate where we stand as Seahawks fans and as a team. So, looking back at week 5, did we get what we wanted? In many cases, yes. In some cases, no. Overall, I'd say it was a pretty good week. But again, we're going to need more time to figure things out. So, Bucks Falcons was the Thursday game. At the time, it seemed like a pretty good result. I still think that it is because it's becoming increasingly clear that the way the Seahawks make the playoffs, if they do, is by winning the division. Because I don't think they're good enough to get a wild card. I think the other teams in the NFC that are in wild card contention are probably going to be good enough to squeeze out the Seahawks. So if you're a Seahawks fan right now, you have to be thinking about winning the division. And you want the other teams in the other divisions to be knocked down and kind of stuck in like a little bit of a quicksand with each other. So it's more likely that you winning the division nets you a higher seed. Because the concern with a game like this, where the Falcons win and both teams go 3-2, is you might end up in a situation where there are so many 10-win teams at the end of the year that it's hard to get a wild card at 10 wins because everybody has 10 wins. But I don't think that's a big concern right now. I feel like the focus should be on winning the division if you're a Seahawks fan, because the division's not very good. That's become clear. All right, so going ahead to Sunday, Jets Vikings, didn't get it. We did get the Robert Saleh firing, which maybe makes the Jets easier to beat later in the season when the Seahawks play them, I guess. But yeah, we did not get what we wanted from the Jets, which is becoming a familiar refrain. The only way I could not be getting what I wanted from the Jets more right now would be if I were a Jets fan. And the Vikings moved to 5-0, and I guess they're just good. Maybe they're not elite. Maybe that will be determined later. But I think we can now determine that's a good team that is doing a lot of things correctly. Panthers Bears. It was a long shot. It was always kind of a Hail Mary. Would have been nice for the Bears to lose, but they're not going to fade away. And I keep telling people, I'm going to keep saying it. That Bears team looms as a sneaky playoff team this year, I think. Maybe a wild card. So they're going to be part of the melee at the end of the year, I think, to try to secure those 3 wild card spots. I really feel like they're going to be involved, even if they don't get in. Ravens Bengals, that one didn't really mean anything either way. Nothing really to say there. Dolphins Patriots, kind of the same thing. I guess the only thing you could really say about Dolphins Patriots is you wanted whichever team had more players that you wanted to trade for to lose, but that's a really thin anyway, so nothing much there. Browns Commanders didn't happen. Again, it was a big ask, right? It was a big ask of Cleveland to get out of their own way to go into Washington and get a win, but didn't happen. Commanders, they're a problem. Maybe they're not a great team, but they got some really great elements to that team. So they're not going away anytime soon, and it's fun to watch. It's kind of cool to see. That Commanders team has not been relevant for a long time. It feels like, but yeah, that Washington squad is they're a problem. Colts Jaguars, not much here. Maybe you wanted Jacksonville to keep losing if you wanted to trade for somebody from Jacksonville, but honestly, like that's so thin. I don't even think it's worth thinking about. And Jacksonville still might be looking to trade some of these players. They're still a bad team. The fact that they needed a last second field goal to beat the Colts at home speaks to that. Bills Texans. We wanted the Bills to win because of strength of schedule stuff. Did not get it. Dang it! Stop doing that. So not a big deal, really. Pretty neutral game overall, but we did technically want the Bills to win. We play the Bills in just a few weeks here, and they're probably going to be needing it with the way things are looking, with them going on this 2-game losing streak. They're going to come in a little angry, and that's not really what we need to be happening right now. I'm just going to say it. Raiders Broncos, wanted the Broncos to win for strength of schedule purposes. We got what we wanted, so yay. I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that in the bank. I'm going to feel pretty good about it. It's a small thing, but it's the only thing in games like this, right? You just want the teams that you've already played to win because it improves your strength of schedule, and maybe that matters later in the season. It's unlikely, but it has happened before. Cardinals, Niners. It was a little bit dangerous, but we definitely wanted this outcome. Great outcome. And you expose weaknesses within that 49ers roster. Now, you do piss the Niners off right before you play them, but I'm not really that worried about that, especially if this trend continues and the Niners end up just not being that great of a team this year. And it's starting to look like we're getting that, right? This Niners team has real problems that are not going away. And I think that we can now reasonably conclude that team has genuine issues. It's not just weird stuff that's happening to them. Their defense is legitimately not very good. Their offense is not scoring in the red zone. Now they don't have a kicker, by the way. They got real issues in San Fran. And look, Arizona, maybe we end up regretting them getting these couple wins early, but they're getting these wins at the expense of other divisional rivals. I will live with that very happily. So happy about that. Packers, Rams, another big one. Rams pretty much buried, right? Rams needed to stay alive while waiting for some of these injured players to come back. They're not doing it. They dropped this game that ended up being very winnable for them. There were a couple things that happened in this game that were very, very fortunate for the Rams, and they couldn't quite capitalize. And at 1-4, they do have their bye week. They are going to get some of these injured players back, but I think they needed to do better than 1-4 with all the players out. They're going to get some of these guys back, but I think the hole is a little too deep. So that's big too. Big result. Cowboys Steelers Sunday Night Football. Little unfortunate here. AFC on NFC. You're always going to want the AFC team to win. And the Cowboys just can't be buried. They play this game on the road. No Micah, no DeMarcus. And they still get the dub. They still get it done. And it's a little bit suboptimal, I'll say it. I'm not saying that it's a huge deal, but we would have much preferred Pittsburgh win this game just for the fact that Dallas is going to be at least involved in the playoff race later this season. Maybe they won't be a good team, but they'll be at least competent enough to be involved. And the Monday game, we did get what we wanted. Chiefs win pretty easily. Saints, I guess it was a mirage. It was a mirage. And that does make life a little bit easier for the Seahawks. That does kind of open the door to a wild card spot, I guess, down the line. But I still feel like that wild card picture is going to be so crowded by the end of the year, and we're starting 0-2 in the conference. I don't really like that, but that door remains just a little bit cracked open for the Seahawks, I think. And the Saints fading as quickly as they have. And now with Derek Carr being out, it's really fading. I think that's a good outcome. All right, so that's it for the post-mortem rooting guide. New rooting guide coming out tomorrow for week 6. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Maybe another video later today, but if not, I will see you on Twitch.